Thanks a lot for that, Rajesh. Well, let's move on and let's get another corporate on the show. Galaxy Surfactants. Well, the company witnessed a rather weak quarter. The dip in profitability, EBITDA as well as revenue. Now, their specialty product volumes also declined by 17% in the past quarter. But that's about the past quarter. What's the way ahead? And what's the outlook for FY24? Mr. U Shekhar, the founder, promoting, as well as managing director of the company, joins us on the show. Hi, Mr. Shekhar. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, last year was a bit of a jittery year, right? We started off the year expecting some volume growth. Then you scaled it to around flattish number and you achieved that. Now, give us two big numbers for this year. What is the volume number you're estimating for this year after a flattish number last year? And also, given that some input costs have cooled off, what is the EBITDA per ton range we're looking at?
Yeah, so I would say the last year was a very satisfactory year for us, though we did see a volume decline on both EBITDA and the bottom line. We had a good year. We did pretty well, driven by, of course, the product mix that we had and some good calls with respect to sourcing of feedstocks. But going ahead, yes, we would certainly aspire, as we have always maintained, a volume growth of 6 to 8%. We are pretty optimistic and buoyant about India. India continues to be a good, robust growth story. We do see certain green shoots in Asia Pacific, as well as the Africa, Middle East region, though Europe and USA remain weak spots. Europe, again, primarily because of the geopolitical reasons, and US, driven by a significant amount of destocking which has happened. We do hope that these factors pass off in maybe in the coming quarters. So we would aspire for a volume growth of 6 to 8%. However, we would not like to give any guidance on EBITDA. What we would like to say is that we would like to maintain the EBITDA growth exceeding the volume growth. That is what is our aspiration.
So then the EBITDA per ton will improve, right?
I mean,
mathematically, Mr. Shekhar, help us out with what was the EBITDA per ton in the last year? What was it that you achieved?
Last year, overall, I think we closed at approximately 24,500 per metric ton. Yeah.
And this year, will it be better or will you return to the high teens? Will it improve from that?
Yeah. See, as I said very clearly, we are aspiring for a volume growth, and our EBITDA numbers, certainly we would aspire it to be better than last year. I mean, that is what we would work to. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Shekhar, hi, good morning. You said Europe and US is weak spots, but that is where the specialty products go. That is the high margin category, 40% of your business. So right. How does that square then with the overall kind of picture that you're painting?
See, we have seen this temporary challenge in these developed markets, primarily because of the inflation, significant amount of inflation that these markets have seen. However, as far as the long-term growth story is concerned, it remains intact. So we would see certain challenges temporary challenges in few quarters, but the long-term story is intact.
And you're saying in places like Egypt, etc., which is an important market, I mean, the region basically, you were seeing some green shoots.
Yes.
Is it a turn? Can you say things have bottomed completely or not yet?
We would think that it has bottomed out, but we have to certainly look for the next 1 or 2 quarters before we can be very, very fully confident that things have turned for the better. But what you have seen, as I said, is only certain green shoots, in the last quarter.
India has been growing for you on a very strong note. You've been clocking in a good double-digit kind of growth in India. Will that continue in FY24?
We expect that to continue because India has been a pretty good, growth story. I mean, a lot of premium products have shown growth in this country. Similarly, a number of new significant players have started coming in, which makes the customer's choices much more to that. So we do see India continuing to be a growth story.
So India, double-digit revenue growth. The rest of the world, that's US and Europe, will probably decline in FY24. And the AMET region, Africa, Middle East and Turkey, could be flat or maybe a little bit of a positive bias in FY24.
We would like to see, we would like to wait for the next 1 or 2 quarters before we are able to make any evaluation as far as the European and US market is concerned.
All right, Mr. Shekhar, if the markets where you're getting higher margins, if they're going to see some pressure, then can we assume that the EBITDA per ton will be lower in this year in comparison to last year? That's a fair assumption?
It's possibility, okay? It's a possibility, okay? So let us see as we go forward.
Okay. All right. And final question then, specialty products as a percentage of your business, I think it's around 40% of your portfolio, right? Specialty products.
Around 1/3, yeah. 1/3, yes.
Around third, okay. So around 33 to around 40% odd. Going ahead, where do you see this number headed? Say in the next 3 years or so, what will it contribute?
We don't see this percentage significantly altering. As we said, for us, both the performance products as well as the specialty ingredients are equally important. What is important for us is volume growth, So we have been, yes, we want to admit that our volumes have remained pretty flat over the last 2-3 years. And we are certainly focused on growing these volumes in all the markets that we operate.
Mr. Shekhar, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining in. That is Galaxy Surfactants, one of the manufacturers or surfactants and specialty ingredients which go into home and personal care products. So your oral care, skin care, detergents, toiletries, cosmetics. Company's India business has been growing very well, but they are facing some issues in the overseas market. US, Europe, even Egypt, Turkey. These are some of the markets which have put pressure on Galaxy Surfactants. The company says that they're aspiring for a volume growth of 6 to 8% next year, FY24, but they're not still giving a guidance. Let's